want to wish a very good day to all the badasses and women in the audience. Because today, we're going to be covering some hard shit. Today, we're going to be covering one of the greatest genres in all of hard rock. Post-Grunge. The best music to drink a Red Bull and beat your wife to. I can't do it anymore. You know me with the butt rock voice 5 seconds ago with and how I said post-grunge is one of the greatest genres of hard rock? I lied. I'm gonna do that a lot today if I ever compliment post-grunge again, because it's not a great genre.
Let's get it over and just get naked. Oh.
The main way I've found to make a good post-grunge band is you simply take Pearl Jam, you mix it with untalented musicians, you then put them in a melting pot, then release something from 1995 to 2010, and you've got the entire post-grunge genre in a nutshell. Simple as that. I mean, a few bands might draw influences from Alice in Chains and Nirvana and stuff, but 90% of them love the out of Pearl Jam. And out of the four bands, really? Pearl Jam? Why?
Freeze, rest his head on a pillow made of concrete.
Final big detail in the note of the genre before we dive into any specific bands is that there's kind of two waves to it. There's the 90s wave of post-grunge, which is more so based around, you know, that edgy, hard, alternative sound. And then there's the 2000s wave to it, which is based more on divorced dad rock. One of these should be a lot better than the other, but they mix in quality a lot more than you would think. That's post-grunge, the most blatantly mocked genre online among all musical hipster archetypes. Now, do they deserve this blatant mockery? From what I know of it, yes. But we're gonna dive deep today and find out if they actually deserve this mockery, instead of having, you know, the sounds of Puddle of Mud and Hinder just floating in my head and screwing with my perception.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Hear your voice saying my name, it sounds so sweet.
The problem with music is it's a subjective thing. So when I dive into a genre, its quality can be loved by someone in the audience, and I could absolutely dog on it the whole video. So what I'm going to try to do is introduce a system that will allow us to kind of look at the genre on an objective basis without comparing it to other spectrums of music. And for this, I have the genre ratingficator inator. The ratingficator inator is basically the perfect system to judge a genre. On the right, you have the best showings, the best examples of why this genre has quality. On the left, you have utter garbage that absolutely ruins the genre's reputation. And for post-grunge, I wouldn't mind putting most of the albums we cover today in the left hand of the spectrum. Thank you. And without further ado, let's get into the music. What's up first? I don't like that.
Can you take me higher?
So before I piss on Creed's parade, I do gotta give some shout out to the instrumentalists, because they are fairly talented, especially Mark Tremonti with his he's got a really good guitar style that suits a certain band really well. That band not being Creed and instead being Alter Bridge, where Scott Stapp can't get in the way of the blissful instrumentals, and instead Miles Kennedy bellows out some beautiful angelic hard rock goodness. Thing with Human Clay I noticed first off is, aside from I think the three main singles, What If, Arms Wide Open, and Higher, I don't remember a single thing about this album. It was just extremely forgettable. There was no catchy choruses anywhere else. There was nothing to really hook me at all. It was just very, very bland music. was like clay. Human clay. This is aided by the fact that Scott Stapp is a dauntingly mid-vocalist and an even worse lyricist.
If you drink the water, your youth will never fade.
He writes some absolutely corny garbage. And they're not, this is a very well-known fact, they're not a Christian rock band, but they're 100% a Christian rock band. But no, I hear you say. I don't listen to rock and roll for the lyrics. I listen because it goes hard. And the thing with Human Clay is it doesn't go hard. It doesn't. It's nothing. I mean, the hardest part about Human Clay, you want to get hard with me? You want to get hard? Watch the With Arms Wide Open music video and watch as Scott Stapp relishes into the sky like a prophet about the birth of his child.
Then tears of joy stream down my face.
That's hard. That's epic. Sadly, that visual aspect of the song is not available when I listen to the album, and that's reserved for only the music video. And I'm also being sarcastic because it's not hard and it's not awesome. I just wasted all your time. But I hope you're happy. It isn't awful. It's just generic, forgettable slop. And that's okay if you want to listen to that. It's perfectly fine. But I tell you what, God better take me higher before I have to listen to this goddamn f***ing garbage.
Oh my God, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the f***, man? Get your ass on.
Bush really like Nirvana. They make a lot of very similar music to Nirvana. And the shameful part about it is, I like some Bush. Like, I ain't gonna lie, Machine Head goes surprisingly hard for the time it came out in. Like, the guitar work there and the breathe in, breathe out, you know, it just, you know, gets you pumped up. Come Down is very close to being mid, but it's catchy and kind of anthemic enough where I'm kind of like dragged into a patriotic mood. It's not a patriotic song, it makes you feel that way. Everything Zen is an excellent post-grunge, straight up just rock song. It's just really catchy and kind of grimy. But now we arrive at a problem. That's it. That's all the stuff I'm gonna glaze. That's all the stuff I'm gonna hype up. Because 16 Stone is an album with 4 tracks I really like, and the rest are fine. They're fine. Yeah, I sit there. Yeah, this is music. It sure is. Bush makes music. But aside from those 4 songs, it's not music I'm ever gonna look into throwing on myself. Bush is a band that finds itself in my playlist more than I find myself actively listening to the albums, because the albums themselves just, they can't grip me. 16 Stone, the topic of today, is their best album. And it's below average in my opinion. It's not that great. It's got those few songs. Aside from that, the lyrics are wacky. They don't make any sense.
Mickey Mouse is grown up a cow. Days on sale again.
I don't know what's with that. Normally the British had very good lyrics. I mean, Radiohead and all that, but Bush just drops the ball in that regard. The performances are fine, but the songwriting doesn't back that up. The best part of this album is the finish line, because I don't have to listen to it anymore. This is a really bad look for me, but I like The Better Life. I mean, it's probably the most generic possible rock album you could throw on in the 2000s, but because of how unrelentingly generic it is, it somehow finds a way to still maintain quality and and be kind of, I don't know, catchy and fun. Really enjoy about half the album. I mean, obviously, my pick and every divorced dad would elect to choose Kryptonite as the best rock song of all time.
I took a walk around the world to ease my troubled mind.
It's not in the top 1,000, but it's really catchy, it's really fun, like you can't deny that. Beyond that, I even throw down the tracks like Loser, Down Poison, Not Enough, By My Side. I mean, there's lots I can list off from my head that just, you know, they don't deserve to go hard, but they do.
I'll give you anything that you want me to, but I don't have the time, so I'll get up with you.
Three Doors Down is like a modern day Eagles. They're very bland, they're very simple. They're a good time though. They draw a lot of inspiration from like country and make a lot of country based tracks. And those tracks aren't my favorite. But even then, it's like they're not bad. They're just there. So, I enjoy The Better Life. Sue me.
Someone save me if you will.
If there's any Shinedown fans at home right now, you're probably wondering why in the world I would choose Us and Them. They're self-titled, and The Sound of Madness have bigger tracks. They got more radio play. They were just bigger hits. And my reasoning is because Us and Them f***ing rocks. This is nothing but rock. This is good shit.
Looking down on the atmosphere, I took my number and I waited in line. I'm not afraid from the exposure.
And the main reason I love it so much is just it achieves its main goal of being a kick-ass rock album, and that's all it's trying to do. It's got great production, great instrumentals, really catchy guitar riffs.
He's gay, but he has a special connection to classical music.
Fake, Begin Again, Atmosphere, Save Me, those are all hard-hitting rockers. Beyond the Sun is phenomenal. And Shed Some Light is also up there with Someday. It's just one hell of a beautiful track. I mean, this is a stacked list of songs, and if you're not giving it a chance, because, you know, it's not your taste of music, that's fine. I don't care. But you should, because it's good. It's really good. It's amazing. Ooh, the people say, we want rage, we want ranting, we want criticism. You want criticism, huh? Well, I got some for you. I sometimes skip the intro. That spoken poetry by that child, I think it's lame, and it doesn't fit the album.
Whisper in the yard and turn the trees all into toys. Lay there on the ground and turn the dirt into your joy.
Yeah, Us and Them is one of my favorite albums. I know that'll take away all my musical street cred I've gained thus far by shitting on Post-Grunge in this video, but I really like this album. It's really fun. It's just a good time. And my biggest complaint being the intro. Should tell you, it's pretty quality. Unless you don't trust my musical opinion, then disagree, and I don't know.
Oh my God! Wow! That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT! I need to feel you! You need to feel me!
Oh, the edgelords at Puddle of Mudd decided to spell mud with 2 D's. Real creative, guys. You want to know the truth? When I say this album makes me musically constipated, I spelt constipated with 2 D's on the end. Does that make me edgy and cool? Am I now part of your club? Oh wow, I put 2 D's on the end. Whoa, edgelord over here, better watch out.
You take it all away! Yeah, you take it all away!
So, you can tell by the band's improper spelling of their own name, alongside the fact that the album cover is a child pissing in a bush, that this isn't very good. And it's not very good. I don't have to tell you that, though. Look at it. And now I'm going to tell you why it's not very good. So that band, Stained, that's not very remarkable. And it's, you know, very average, middling radio rock.
It's been a while.
Puddle of Mudd's biggest inspiration is probably Stained. And that alone tells me this isn't worth my time if you're inspired by a band as derivative as Stained as it is. Just take a listen to the biggest track on this album, Blurry, and you'll find out that there's nothing worth your time here.
You could be my someone, you could be my scene.
Songwriting just can't keep up. I barely remember any of the songs, but the aforementioned Blurry. Control was kind of fun and heavy. And I think it's She Hates Me is a song I can only ironically enjoy because it's so cheesy that you kind of get into it. Beyond that, there's nothing worth your time here. I very much imagine that Puddle of Mudd would make a much better cover band than an actual regular band because they can't write songs.
I do have a clue. Take it, then it's wrong. You hang me out to dry. I can see you every night. Rain.
Okay, I was wrong.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the man? Get your ass on.
Don't wanna be a monkey wrench.
Foo Fighters are a rock band. People like rock, so people like Foo Fighters. That's all, folks. In actuality, Foo Fighters are a very talented band, and they honestly have a lot more musical diversity than people give them credit for. Now, this is probably the best showing of that. This album, it's really solid. The color and the shape has lots of different unique facets and stuff, but overall, even then, it's just slightly above average.
What?
No, alright. I know that sounds bad.
Like, I really love the first half up until I See You. And it's all really solid, energetic, fun, kind of uniquely written songs. And by uniquely written, I mean it's not exactly written for the radio, it's just mostly written for the radio.
There goes my hero.
But I've got a really unfortunate kind of hot take to any Foo Fighters fans out there. I recommend turning off the album after Everlong because at that point the songs get really dragged out, overly kind of balladesque and boring. Second, like the first half is phenomenal. That's why I'm gonna put it as high as I am. But I turn off the album near the end. One thing Dave Grohl does need credit for is the fact that he possibly is running the most creative band in the genre of post-grunge. It's such a bland derivative genre that it makes Dave Grohl look like an absolute genius, and he is. He's a smart, cute, handsome boy, and I'm gonna ignore any other controversies that might be associated with him because we're talking about music today.
Ladies and gentlemen, Foo Fighters!
Foo Fighters are an excellent fast food band, in my opinion. That is the pinnacle of their existence, and that would probably bring shame to any members in the band, but they're not gonna watch this video. And they should also know that I respect them quite a lot. They're a great band to turn on when I want to turn my brain off. Just kind of, you know, jump around like an idiot to some rock music for a bit, you know? Just got that kind of groovy, kind of jazzy, kind of jump up, blasting vibes, you know? That's what Foo Fighters makes me feel.
What if I say I'm not like the others? What if I say
Breaking Benjamin. They're basic blonde baddie metal. And they're really good basic blonde baddie metal. Like, they've somehow got to such an extent of good where they've made Benjamin somewhat a viable name for a badass. Before, if you pointed at a guy and you were like, yo, look at Benjamin, I would have thought, nah, virgin. But now I think, oh damn. This is definitely aided by Benjamin Burnley because his vocals are so freaking good. They just, the heaviness in his tone he can just capture with his natural voice. I mean, they drown it out with auto-tune nowadays, but for the first 3-4 Breaking Benjamin albums, including today's topic of Phobia, right on the head, right there. It's just mesmerizing for the eardrums. It tastes so tasty.
I see nothing in your eyes.
Despite my mentioned love for Breaking Benjamin, Phobia, today's topic, is not a perfect album. And that's mainly because it's a very emotional kind of ballad-based album, and those tracks like Evil Angel and You, they're not the best. There's better tracks, including on this album, because where this album actually comes in clutch and actually nails its hammer on the head, it's the other way around, it's the nail on the head, but where the nail gets hit on the head is with the energy-based tracks. I mean, Had Enough, Dance with the Devil, Breath, especially Diary of Jane. I mean, everybody's heard that song, and maybe it's been overplayed, but it's been overplayed because, so good.
Something's getting in the way. Something's just about to break.
It's a really solid album. And even despite the emotional tracks kind of bogging it down, it's still a really solid experience overall. And then you get to the final song, You Fight Me. That's the track name. It reminds me of when I was a virgin. And I'm a virgin right now.
Well, no shit.
It's really bad. I don't even know how to describe it. It feels like the last remnant of nu metal. And I like nu metal, and even then the cheesiness is turned up like full gear here, and You Fight Me. Last song just completely butchers the perfection this album could have had. I'm lying, it wouldn't have been perfect, but I really gotta emphasize how much I don't like this track. So yeah, Phobia, it's a good album. It's ruined by that last track, and it's a little too ballad-esque for me, like I mentioned before. The lyrics are definitely a little simple, and pretty much every Breaking Benjamin album has the same theme of not bowing. You won't break. Being unyielding to the forces of life. They're all the same. So if you care about lyrics, if you care about too many emotional tracks, maybe pass this one. But if you want to give, one of the heavier sides of Post-Grunge a chance, Breaking Benjamin's a good stop. Man, I still can't believe they got away with making Benjamin a valid badass name. Doesn't make any sense. If Live is your favorite band of all time, I hate to inform you, you're not real. You don't exist. There's not a single person out there in the entire world who would decide, oh yeah, my favorite band, Live. Today we're talking about their biggest album by far, Throwing Copper. And it just feels like Pearl Jam with no grit. Like, the vocalist himself, he sounds kind of like Eddie Vedder, but more with like a, curdle in the throat and a little more of a southern twang. So I'm about to hurt your mother's feelings if you're young, around my age, but Live's ballads especially, Lightning Crashes and Pillars of David, are just so boring. They're so boring. I couldn't even get through them. I started listening to the album in like a standing position, ready to, boogie down, and I ended up laying down and almost falling asleep because this shit it's like a lullaby that sucks.
War is where the young and stupid are tricked by the old and bitter into killing each other. I was very young and very angry. Maybe that is no excuse. Roman? Roman! Are you sleeping, you fat—
And then the opener, the track that's supposed to draw me in and make me excited for, ooh, I'm gonna boogie down for some live. The opening track just sucks. I don't know what, it's so wonky and wacky from a band that shouldn't be wonky nor wacky. It just doesn't work. I'm being really negative. I don't hate this album. Believe it or not, I like a lot of the songs on this album. Selling the Drama, I Alone, Over You, and Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls is a good song. Iris by Live is also a good song. There's lots of good stuff on here. But despite the good parts, the ballads, the opener, how derivative the album is, takes my massive musical boner shooting through my skull and acts as an immediate turnoff. The musical boner just shrinks like that, like it hit the cold. Because something about this album is just so bland. It's porridge. It's oatmeal without the dinosaur eggs. Who wants that? Either way, if you like Live, if you dislike Live, I don't really care. The only reason I'd find myself caring about your opinion is if you went on the internet and called them your favorite. Because they can't be your favorite because they are so not worthy of anybody's favorite. So if you end up doing that, well, I'm gonna find you. And you're gonna end up alive. Extreme behavior by Hinder is garbage. It's a war crime on my eardrums. The fact the people who lived in the 2000s gave this band a chance to get big, to get a hit song on the radio, hit #1, it disgusts me. It fills me with immense shame for the human race. Who the listens to Hinder?
I'm a deep-fried double-wide version of the man I was before.
They have a song with the lyrics, "Tell me how you're gonna blow my best friend," and a record company saw potential in them. Wait, where? Who signed them? What kind of monster does this? Unleashes this filth on the world? This thing sucks such shit that the entire digestive tract comes out along with it. I mean, look at the album cover. This is the most misogynistic genre of hard rock, let me tell you. And Hinder definitely helped out with that, because why the does she need to wear lingerie to sell your units of Lips of an Angel? Where are the producers and the executives who produced this? Because I'm gonna find them. I'm gonna grab them by their balls, and I'm gonna I have to go now. My planet needs me.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the man? Get your ass on.
When I found out that Flyleaf is a genuine, real Christian rock band in the genre, they're not fake posers like Creed who can't own up to the fact that they're Christian rock. I was a little scared, a little skeptical. It's a facet of music that I tend to avoid for very clear reasons.
Wanna get down on my knees and start pleasing Jesus. I wanna feel his salvation all over my face.
But Flyleaf surprised me. This was a very solid listen, if not a little emo for my taste. If anything, the emo aspects are the biggest problem with the album, because the lyrics are just so edgy, especially for the Christian rock side of this thing. Like, there's so many songs about, lighting up schools, lighting-wise, and, wrists getting somehow mysteriously opened up. It's dark. It's well-performed lyrics, don't get me wrong. Lacey Strum does a phenomenal job at expressing such poetry. It's just a little much at times.
Wishing my wrists were bleeding to stop the pain from the beatings and
Gonna give my admiration to Lacey Strum and Flyleaf for showing up most of the sexist cowboys in this genre at their own game. I mean, for all the hinders and the puddle of muds out there, Lacey Strum comes in, outperforms them. Flyleaf plays catchier music, it's more fun. We won't mention the lyrics again, and it's a great old time. Check it out if you like emo or post-grunge. You just might like Flyleaf. It was a tough decision talking about Neon Ballroom today, because it felt like I was doing it a huge disservice to put it alongside most of the albums we talk about today.
I am the king of the mountaintop. I reign supreme over everyone in this school. I am the golden god!
I myself, though, am not known to be a master of the pullout, and will stick with my decision to include it, because god damn is this a good album. Neon Ballroom is Silverchair's third album, and it finds them really nailing a more alternative, atmospheric side of themselves rather than their first two more angsty, raw albums, And that's why Neon Ballroom's so great. It's not to say the first two Silverchair albums are bad. I also love those ones, despite some of their flaws and production problems. They're really good albums. It's just Neon Ballroom is a masterpiece.
The ultimate needle mover, the head of the table, the tribal chief, in God mode himself!
Anthem of the Year 2000 is such a pump-up. Like, you really get your heart on with this track. Anna's song. Just gorgeous. Point of View is one of the few tracks in my life that is emotionally resonant with, my journey of growing up. It was a song I used to listen to a lot at a lot of low places. But this isn't my biography, this is a video on Post-Grunge, so we're not gonna dive into that.
Look, we found some people in the tent. Are these yours? That's Grandad. This is his birthday present. Oh, we're going to speak to Grandad and his birthday present. Are you Grandad?
I'm Grandad, yeah.
And are you birthday present?
No, I'm his grandson.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
I'm on the outside, I'm looking in.
If I ever get married, and then have a kid, and then have another kid, and then I decide I don't like my wife anymore, and then I decide to file for divorce, and then I end up divorced, and see my kids once a week, then I'll be in Stain's main target demographic.
John, I want a divorce.
Divorce.
I think one look at me tells you I am not in Stain's main target demographic yet. I haven't even reached the first part of Marriage. So, I don't like this album very much. I don't think it's very good. I mentioned that earlier when I was also dissing Puddle of Mudd. Now trust me, this is a lot better than Puddle of Mudd, but it's not by very much.
For putting up with me.
I think the main problem is Aaron Lewis is a very talented vocalist when he's not doing country. But on this album and a lot of Stain's slower albums, it's just, his voice is like porridge getting poured into your ears. It's very much flat and mundane, and it can deliver some very depressing kind of lyrics and stuff, but it's not all that great to listen to. I like Stain's heavier albums. Their self-titled and their first album, and their second album that is actually on a label. Some people confuse Dysfunction as their first album. No, but those three are all pretty good. It's just Break the Cycle is not. That's the problem today. It's got a few good tracks. Open Your Eyes and For You are kind of fun picks. I don't mind Waste. The rest I'm fine without, especially Outside. That song is so many tiers of unlistenable, and even beyond that, It's Been a While is just so stupid.
But I can still remember just the way you take.
What? But either way, if you have a weapon to your head and you are in very high levels of danger, and you simply had to choose between any Stained album and Aaron Lewis's country stuff, please go with Stained.
Everybody talks to God.
Are you sure about that?
Audioslave is okay. They've got the fun, bouncy, kind of funky riffs from Tom Morello and the rest of the gang at Rage Against the Machine. And then you've got Chris Cornell, his huge emotional range, lots of power there, you know. It's a perfect combo, and it's a good reminder to the world that two good things don't make a great thing. Made some really great singles, I gotta give them that. Koshais is awesome, if that's how you pronounce it. Show Me How to Live, banger. Like a Stone is 2000's anthem to the max, and it nails that aspect of it. I think the big problem with Audioslave is just Chris Cornell and Rage Against the Machine aren't really compatible artists. It's a lot like putting Eddie Vedder with Faith No More. Doesn't fit. Or putting Scott Weiland with Guns N' Roses. There's no way that would work. It didn't work. I do need to give Audioslave my props. They did a very good job working with a side project that didn't really make much sense at conception. And even then, having the few awesome singles they have shouldn't have worked, so that deserves enough admiration as it is. But still, I think if Rage had stayed together completely and Soundgarden had stayed together completely and never went off and did this side project, I think we get a lot higher quality music out of that. So, I guess what I'm saying is Audioslave is an accident child. But they turned out pretty alright, didn't they?
Basket for the basket. Basket for the basket.
I feel so much better now that you're gone forever.
Now, I don't care what any of you cornballs in the audience are going to comment. 3 Days Grace is just a straight up good time. Doesn't actually, I gotta correct myself there. Old 3 Days Grace is a straight up good time. Just here, have a listen to the new stuff and you tell me what you think.
Caffeine, nicotine, amphetamines running through my bloodstream. Trauma, another turn into a monster.
Wow, this is garbage.
Despite what they are nowadays, 1X is just a phenomenal album with so many great tracks. Animal I've Become, Never Too Late, Gone Forever, Let It Die, Over and Over, On My Own. It's just banger after banger, and it's straight heat. All of it being performed phenomenally by 3 Days Grace's highly talented instrumentalists and their vocalist at the time, Adam, who absolutely slaps the shit out of most singers in the genre.
I swear I never meant to let it die.
Even with the few faults the album has, I'd say Riot is just kind of cheesy and not that great.
Let's start a riot, let's start a riot.
And 1X is a very poor closer in my opinion, but beyond those two, it's all good songs. And believe me, 1X is no lyrical miracle. If you listen to music for the lyrics, just turn that aspect of your brain off because there's not much substance here.
I try to live without you every time I do, I feel dead.
With all that being said, I think the one thing you need to focus on with 3 Days Grace is just, how this album is so much better than some of their other stuff. The main example point I'm gonna pull out with that is their cover of Somebody That I Used to Know. Just don't listen to it.
Now and then I think of when we were together.
Anxiety.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Let's start over. Try to do it right this time around.
Daughtry is just the songwriting of Hinder meeting a competent vocalist like Chris Daughtry, and in truth, it creates an oozing of both bread and butter from whatever radio station you might hear this music from.
Add butter, add butter, add butter, add butter, add butter, add butter, add butter.
You've heard Daughtry before, and that's not because you've listened to a song from Daughtry. That's just if you've listened to hard rock radio at any time in your life. That's how generic Daughtry's music is, and listening to a whole album of it was pain. Genuine pain. My ass hurts because it got so antsy, annoyed, ready to leave that I was just doing the electric boogaloo waiting for this shit to end.
Never saw it coming, I should have started running a long, long time ago.
There's nothing I could say about this album. I forget pretty much every single song on it. I tried to write down my feelings on the songs. All interchangeable. There was one song Slash featured on. Didn't care. Didn't even notice Slash was playing because it was just interchangeable with the rest. Whole album is just, again, bread and butter personified into my eardrums, and it's awful. Except I love It's Not Over. It is just a masterpiece, ironically and unironically. You've heard it, I've heard it, we've all heard it a million times. The world's heard it a million times, and we still eat that shit up because it's catchy, it's beautiful, it's well performed, it's well written, and I don't know how you could write that song and then write the rest of the slop found on this album. It doesn't make any sense. It's not statistically possible to write a song as good as It's Not Over and then write the rest of the slop on here. My eardrums have grown teeth and bit into this song like because we just want more. In Daughtry, they don't deliver.
I was blown away, what could I say?
Oh, the overall descriptor for the self-titled album by Daughtry is it's a big bag of trash, right? But that bag of trash has a very tiny, perfectly sealed, perfectly enveloped gourmet cupcake in the middle of it. You just gotta, dig in there, chomp into it, and then properly discard of the rest. It's Not Over is the cupcake. and the album is the rest. You best just skip Daughtry.
A lot of people predicted, Chris, that you could be the next American Idol. Chris, you are going home tonight.
Oh my God, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the man?
Get your ass on.
Yes, I found the reason I don't need an excuse.
Days of the New is kind of acting as today's mouthwash, simply because they do something stylistically different than every other band here today. They are all acoustically based, and it kind of works, and it kind of doesn't. Second the first note hits, you will note that instrumentally, this is just Jar of Flies by Alice in Chains. The vocalist doesn't really fit the style in my opinion, and though he allows a few songs to land, because he does a good enough job, it just doesn't fit the acoustic kind of calm, beautiful, eerie, almost haunting sounds being played in the backdrop of his very generic vocals.
Oh, bring me down, bring me down.
You need more Jar of Flies. Days of the New is your next stop. It's got the atmosphere, it's got the DNA of the EP literally soaked into its guitar strings. You turn the vocals off in the mix, you couldn't tell the difference. But it's like eating the cake without the icing. That icing being Lane Staley. Without Lane Staley, Jar of Flies is a very good acoustic instrumental album, but I wouldn't say it's a masterpiece. He really does make that EP. Whereas this is a clear sign of what that EP would be without Lane Staley, which is a good acoustic album. But it ain't no goddamn Alice in Chains, I'll tell you that much.
Will you try to take my photos?
Looking back at me, I see that I never really got it right.
This is prime post-grunge douchecore, and it's captured perfectly to the point where I should hate it, but I don't, because it's so masterfully douchey that I kind of unironically love it.
Back into that smack, do you know you act just like a whore begging for crack or a sack?
How can you love a thing if you call it douchey, you may say, and I might say, well, it's got nu metal kind of baked into its DNA, and it's got a lot of like rapcore influence. Both of these things do not fit in post-grunge, but somehow the band has taken them and it's kind of, you know, throwing these things in the mixing pot, and it's coming out and it just works. I don't know how. It shouldn't. It sounds like optimal frat party post-grunge, and that's something that also shouldn't work, but Crossfade does it.
Shutting out the band!
And despite my shame, I have to admit I kind of like it a lot. For the tracks I like, I enjoy Cold. It's a great opener, just makes you want to go, hell yeah! No Giving Up kind of lands. It's kind of one of those more like anthemic tracks. Lots of those in post-grunge and very few of them land. No Giving Up does. Colors is just pissed, and it's the right amount of pissed where I get into it, you know, nice and bouncy. So Far Away, a little emotional for my taste, but even then it somehow hits the mark while still sounding extremely douchey. I don't know why Crossfade has to be so douchey.
I don't know where I felt like I get a little drink around here, do you, bud?
There's some straight up garbage songs on here like Dead Skin or Disco. This isn't quality. This is a guilty pleasure album. And that's it. All my praise here is just because I can kind of funk with it, you know? It's not that I actually think this is objectively a good album, because it's not. Because Crossfade is not an objectively good artist. There's some frat boys who hopped on a scene at the time and they mastered it. But it's post-grunge. It's the easiest genre to master.
It's gonna be a hell of a time.
Seether is one of those bands that really nails a certain aspect of that grunge sound, and that's just the rawness. The emotional vulnerability is only really there with Seether. The rest of the bands we talk about today either don't have it or are really bad at faking it.
I'm depressed, okay?
You broke up. How long you want to cry about it?
She was my life.
You're 20 years old. You barely have a life.
But Disclaimer 2 somehow nails it on the head. A lot of the tracks here are incredibly pissed off, to the point where this is probably the heaviest album we're discussing today. While also somehow containing the most like balladesque, sad, depressing songs.
I know you're so.
I don't have an issue with Disclaimer 2. It nails its tone, it's got energy, it's got emotion, it delivers on everything it's trying to be, and that's the main thing I focus on when I'm looking at the quality of an album. Does it actually achieve its goal? If you're not a very perceptive listener, it does achieve its goal. I think I'm making that very clear, but in case you're not picking up on it, yeah, it's really just all around a solid time.
I felt like we were allowed to be ourselves on this album, you know? Really explore our sexuality.
Artistically, Disclaimer 2 isn't Radiohead. Lyrically, it's not Shakespeare. But in terms of the genre, it finds itself, and this is perfection. This is an absolute genre-defining masterpiece compared to its brethren at the time. So I've got to give Seether the award of Album of the Genre. It's a fake award I made up, and it gets a little PNG of a trophy. Can we get a PNG of a trophy up in here? That's Seether's. They earned this. How many artists do we have left?
'Cause I'm broken when I'm lonesome.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
I remember the day.
Theory of a Dead Man album by miles. By miles and miles of road, this is the best Theory of a Dead Man performance. It still sucks ass. See, the problem with Theory of a Dead Man is their main influence, their main sound, is kind of all borrowed from Nickelback. Now, taking inspiration from an artist and borrowing their sound isn't always going to be an immediate turn-off for me. I like a lot of copycat bands. It becomes a problem when the band you're copycatting is already a copycat of a lot of other bands. Nickelback isn't original, they're not inspiring, and they're not innovative.
Have we got any Nickelback fans in Portugal? Are you sure?
So when you copy a band that's unoriginal, uninspiring, and uninnovative, you're nothing. You are soulless, uninspiring radio trash. And that is Theory of a Dead Man in a nutshell.
Come on, never get late. Nice guys always lose.
It's just coincidental that Nickelback, Chad Kroeger even produced their first album. That's how inspiring and innovative Theory of a Dead Man are, and by that I mean not at all. They've got a few tracks I like, of course. I don't mind Better Off. Santa Monica's a classic. And I'm really running out of good things to say about this band, and things to say about post-grunge in general. Like really, next time I dive deep into a genre, we're gonna make it something really unique. I don't know, funk would be more interesting. I could pretty much say the same thing about every artist I discussed today. They're all so interchangeable. They're all piggybacking off of each other, and Theory of a Dead Man represents that most on this album. Their future albums are actually kind of innovative in the way that they inhale ass.
You can't keep getting away with it! You can't keep getting away with it!
Oh my god, bro.
Oh,
Get your ass on. Not like you to say sorry. I was waiting on a different story.
I never made it as a wise man. Here we are, folks, end of the road, and I've saved the top of the charts for last in terms of popularity and not in terms of quality because it's Nickelback. So obviously this isn't going to be the best album of the day. But it probably will be the one you're most familiar with. And I'll get it right out into the air right away here. I really like How You Remind Me. It is a really good 2000s radio song. And then even beyond that, there's a few other tracks on here that just bang. Like Never Again and Money Bot. Those are just bangers, straight up. I think my main takeaway from listening to Silver Side Up by Nickelback is that people need to listen to more post-grunge before they just dog on Nickelback. I mean, post-grunge is home to Puddle of Mud, Theory of a Dead Man, Daughtry, especially Hinder. There is pure, unadulterated garbage out there, and yet the internet seems to focus all on Nickelback for the source of the problems from the genre. No, 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 no.
Oh, no.
Nickelback's not good. They're uninspiring, they're lame, they're bland. But they're catchy, they're well performed on all aspects. They're somewhat entertaining to throw on. That's something the bands I just listed, they don't have that. They are actual garbage. Nickelback, you could do a lot worse than Nickelback, and I think everything I've talked about today proves that. Next time you go to hate on Nickelback online, I want you to reflect. I want you to think that hate is a powerful force in a negative way. It doesn't create good. It just leads to more bad. And that's why I want to be a hypocrite about this and say, don't hate on Nickelback. Go hate on the other garbage bands. Because we gotta evenly displace our hate on those who deserve more of it. You know, we can't focus our attention on one garbage band and leave the rest alone. We've got to share our hate with the world and let it be known that there is a lot more garbage bands out there than just Chad Kroeger and the Fellas.
I mean, it's alright, like, overrated as f***.
Oh, that was a long journey. We went through a lot there, and we only made very few friends along the way. But I hope you had fun. I mean, I think the main thing, the word of the day we've discovered is lack of depth. And I know that's 3 words. That kind of showcases what we've discussed today regarding post-grunge. I mean, it's all very surface level, you know, digestible tracks, very simple, inspiring lyrics, but when it comes down to it, this is a genre that works on your playlists or on the radio as like one-off songs. When you throw on a full album, you realize how lacking in any substance most of this music is. And that's fine. It's fine. Some bands definitely work better as single bands, but I definitely appreciate a little more depth, and that's why the next genre we dive into will have more depth. I can promise you that. Anyhow, I've been inspired. I'm going to go get married, file for divorce, and go make a band for some adoring gals and groupies, because that's the audience base post-grunge has. I hope y'all at home have a very wonderful rest of your day. I'll catch you later.